Today, we explore an exciting theme, your guide into hypnotherapy and the law of attraction. In one place, the power of your voice with Mike Murphy.
Hey, welcome everybody. This is your weekly Power of Your Voice podcast, and I'm your host, Mike Murphy, and I'm super grateful and excited that you're here today. I think you're going to hear some very, very powerful tips to how to manifest and become a creator and create the best life for you and your family and become the best version of yourself in the process. So I'm super excited about that. As always, if you hear something powerful and you know someone that's struggling out there and could use this information to benefit, please share it with them. You know, we're here to serve and to love people back to health, the body, mind, heart, and soul, and that's our mission. And I think you're going to hear a lot of good stuff today. Of course, I have to say this, much as I don't like to. If you like it, hit the thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, we'd really appreciate it. But the most important thing for me is if you know someone's suffering and you hear something that you think will help, or perhaps even yourself, download it, share it, and it's going to be a great show. So, to introduce our guest today is a worldwide leader in hypnotherapy, a best-selling author, international speaker, and a life success coach, also a renowned authority on the law of attraction. She has dedicated her life to empowering people all over the world to successfully live a life of liberty, aligned with their dreams through her effective meditative recordings and online courses. Through her podcast, The Power of Your Mind, she exudes her passion for inspiring listeners with influential guests in the areas of self-development, mindset, discipline, and habits, entrepreneurship, wealth, and relationships. Welcome, Victoria Gallagher.
Thank you so much for that wonderful welcome, Mike. It's a pleasure to be on your show. It was also a pleasure to have you on my show a few months back.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I have to confide something to you right now. I have severe mercury poisoning, and I don't remember what I did last week. It's so interesting what I'm detoxing right now, and the future is very bright and optimistic. But it's so funny. I don't remember what I did last week. But I know exactly my whole life up to recently, but it's a short-term memory. I've had 2 brain mappings now. I'm doing neurofeedback, so this is an exciting process I'm going through. So
very exciting. Oh my goodness.
But it's gonna make this show much better, because I don't remember a lot about being on your show. So we're gonna have fun. And I'm sure definitely. We had a great time last time as well.
We did. I promise you could listen back to it.
I got to ask you.
Refresh your memory.
I got to ask you. Well, then I'm about the law of attraction as well, right? So
absolutely.
So when did it first come into your life? What happened, and what was the process, and how did you get to where you are now?
You know, there's been many touches of the law of attraction when I wasn't aware that that's what was going on. Very initially, was when I was in first grade, and I made a vision for myself that I was going to play Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz when I saw the 6th graders putting on the play, and I said, I'm going to play Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz in the 6th grade. And every single year I just held true to that and used the power of my mind and visualized it. And of course I got the part, and that was amazing. And kind of fast forward though to a lot of other different times. It was back when I was a stockbroker, and I was starting to just get burnt out on that business. And, I didn't really feel like I was in my real calling. And I just really addressed that. And I went to personal development seminars. And during the seminars, we just had some amazing kind of woo-woo type of experiences. And it was during that time when I was really, they had a big banner on the front of the stage: to think is to create. And that just really became my own mantra. And I really felt like, it's true. Whatever you give your focus and attention and energy to, you end up creating that, and it's not necessarily like, poof, I'm going to think about something and bang, it just happens. But when your dominant thoughts are going in a particular direction, I found
Yes.
you absolutely will end up creating that. You can't not create that. You're designed, your brain is literally designed to make that happen. And so that was back in 1999. I completely did a 180 in my career. I went from stockbroker to hypnotherapist. And even back then, not a lot of people were familiar with this law of attraction or manifesting or any of those terms. And yet, kind of behind the scenes, I was, in my recording studio, planting these seeds into people's minds that, if you believe it, you can achieve it. And you have this magnetic energy. And I was talking about these very specific principles in my recordings. And then voila, the secret comes out and everybody, it kind of goes mainstream.
Right.
And that's when I just kind of decided, okay, this is my niche.
Right.
This is where I'm going to specialize. And this is, I love this topic, and I love teaching people how to manifest and use the power of their mind. So yeah, it's been kind of woven throughout all of my experiences.
Yeah. And the truth is, in my opinion, we're all manifestors. We've manifested everything in our life, but very few of us are willing to take responsibility for that and own it, and therefore we're a victim instead of powerful creator. And it's
what that.
Go ahead, please elaborate.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I want you to do it.
That is the key word: is responsibility. Is to recognize the fact, like you said, that we are always manifesting. It's just that, most of the time, if you're not familiar with how all of these principles work, you're going to be manifesting on default, on autopilot. And that's what most of us are doing. And through understanding and learning the principles and making it a consistent habit in your life, because I think it's more of a way of life.
Yeah.
It's just a way of living. Than it is some kind of magical power that you can tap into.
Yes, that's the problem. They sell it as this woo-woo stuff. Everything is a seed. You plant it, and then you reap. And that applies to the physical 3D world. That applies to our mental world, our emotional world, and our spiritual world. That's how this whole thing works. That's how nature works. And so it's a simple process, but getting people to buy in. And why is it so difficult to get people to buy in?
Well, I think fear of change, fear of the unknown. I think a lot of times people actually feel like if they put their goals out there, if they say what they really want, they're going to get hurt.
Right.
They're not going to get what they want, and but what I say to that ultimately is like, well, the chance of you getting hurt and not getting what you want, it exists whether you go for it and believe in your dreams or not. So if you go through life feeling like life is working against you and keep yourself small and not get clarity on what you want to do and not change your mindset around to having some hope in your dreams, then you're really living in kind of a negative mindset anyway. So you might as well just put yourself out there and go for what you want.
Let me tell you why I think people don't. Because I'm a heart-based manifestor. I'm a heart-based creator, right? And so what happens when people get hurt, you said that so eloquently, is they start to contract the heart. And then they start to leave the heart and they start to live in the insane asylum. And so, because if you're not in control of this, the thoughts are crazy. And where do they come from? But when I create from my heart, now I can use this supercomputer of my mind to create the plan, to bring in the synchronicities, to bring in the right people, to bring in the right teachers. And then it works. Then it is magical because I'm blown away. I'm manifesting this amazing retreat center down here in Colombia, and it's all heart-based. It's all about love and service to others that are suffering, and all the people are showing up. It's still a lot of hard work. That's the other thing. The book Think and Grow Rich is a great book, but the title sucks because you got to do more than think. You got to get off of your butt. You got to go out there and take some action. So how do you say that to your clients when working with them?
Well, the way that I illustrate it is I talk about the 8 manifesting conditions that all need to be in
Perfect.
alignment in order for you to manifest. One of those does include action.
Hmm.
But the first one is really getting super clear on your desire.
Yeah.
And most people, you'll find when you ask them what they want, either they'll say, I don't really know what I want, or they maybe give you a very, very general, vague idea of what they want. And they're too vague.
Yeah.
And what that leads to ultimately is just somebody sort of blowing in the wind and not really knowing, not really staking their claim and putting their foot down
Right.
and saying, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to create from who I am. And so it really starts there, and then getting your thoughts working in alignment, which
Right.
ultimately means catching yourself
Yeah.
whenever your thoughts are starting to drift in another direction, which they will, because I mean, our thoughts are constantly going on autopilot. I
Right.
don't care how good of a manifester you are,
Right.
you're still going to have thoughts that are not in alignment.
Yep.
And so, it's like we want to, it's like herding sheep
Hmm.
ultimately with these thoughts. We got to keep them all. They're going to run away.
Yep.
They're going to start going in all different directions. But then, through the process of, meditating every day, to me, meditation isn't necessarily about like sitting there waiting for some spiritual thing to happen and get, I mean, it can happen.
Right.
You can get enlightened through meditation, but for me, it's like an exercise. It's the gym
Yeah.
of our
Yes.
mind.
Yes.
It's really where we go to, help us to align our thoughts
Yep.
and to be able to control our thoughts.
Yeah.
And none of us really has that much control over our thoughts. But at least if we can control some of them, then we can actually start to, we can start to manifest more of what we want rather than what, our default thinking is going to lead us to. And so it's also about tapping into the imagination. And I think the imagination, that's the third manifesting condition. And, it's very similar to thoughts, but it's a little bit, um, it's a little bit deeper because our imagination really connects us with our subconscious mind,
Yes.
and even beyond that, the super conscious mind. And so we're essentially, that's how we're communicating to our subconscious mind and programming it. And then getting the subconscious beliefs in alignment, because again, a lot of people, they think that they think they're committed, but really, your environment that is all around you is a pretty good indication of what you've been believing. Like
Mhm.
everything that you have right now in your life, and this is where taking that responsibility really comes into play. Everything that you have in your life pretty much, was there by design in your subconscious mind. It's, you know, we're not even necessarily conscious of the things that we're doing. We're operating on autopilot almost 90% of the time. And our thoughts are running on autopilot 90% of the time, and it's based on what we believe in our subconscious mind. So if
Right.
we can reprogram that.
Yes.
So, it just kind of goes on and on, but taking action is paramount. I mean, like nothing happens. That's how we bridge our internally thinking mind, the superconscious, the subconscious, the spiritual world. That's how we bridge that into the physical world. That's how we take our emotions and everything and make it a physical material thing, because we
Exactly.
do live in a material world and we have to take material physical action.
I challenge people to find one thing in their physical reality that didn't first start as a thought and a desire. because everything starts there, and then we bring it. I love the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks a lot about the infinite field of possibilities. We bring it from there, and that's why imagination is so crucial, because if we can see it there, but more importantly, feel it there, that's the magnet. This is the electrical thought. If we can put that into the field and draw that back, that's how it works. That's how everything works. Let me ask you this. What was the process? Why did you become a hypnotherapist? What was the process like, and how do you use it in your work today?
So it was back when I went to, well, I learned about hypnotherapy back when I was like 18. And I started, I got a book from my mom called Total Self-Confidence that was written by Dr. Robert Anthony. It's like, it's one of those books. It's like so prolific, like Think and Grow Rich, but not as many people know about that book.
Yeah.
And that it talked about, self hypnosis right up front. And I started really learning about how powerful it was and how powerful our minds were. But it didn't even occur to me at that time that I was ever going to have anything to do with it as a profession. Never,
Interesting.
like back then I was still angling to become a rock star. And so that was really the first little touch of hypnotherapy. I had a couple other touches with it where I was afraid of needles,
Oh.
and I was seeing a therapist, and she happened to also be a hypnotherapist. And I overcame my fear of needles. I also overcame my fear of the dentist, and so it helped me to overcome some of these really strong fears. And then when I took that seminar, that's just kind of where everything really came together for me, because essentially, even though they never called it that, they called it closed eye techniques. We're going to do another closed eye technique, and close your eyes, and we get very, very, very relaxed. And then, we'd really tap into our imagination, and we'd just do all these crazy things. And it was so cool. And I kept trying to get all my friends to come and take this seminar. No one wanted to do it. And so I just had this idea one day that, like, well, it was because it was always, I don't have the time, I don't have the money. So I just got this idea one day. And I've always had a good voice, and I loved to sing. I mean, that's kind of been a little ongoing theme throughout my life. I'm no stranger to the recording studio. And it just hit me, like everything just kind of came together. And I said, what if I took these kinds of concepts and I put them on recordings? And I didn't know exactly what that was going to be. I didn't even still at that moment know I was going to become certified as a hypnotherapist. But then, after doing a series of research, I stumbled upon a hypnotherapy certification course. It was starting in Las Vegas, where I lived at the time, in 2 weeks. And I'm like, that's it. And like, I went and I took the class, I got certified, and I just kept taking steps, forward. And I wound up opening up my office, which ultimately led to the ultimatum by my employer at the time. That basically was the straw that, broke the camel's back, because he said, you have 30 days to make a decision on what you want to do. And at the time, I wasn't even making any money yet. I was spending money on ads, office rent, all kinds of things. And I made a decision at that time that, like, okay, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to put the power of the mind to the test here.
Well, I'm glad you did. The world is better off because you did. You mentioned earlier, I got to ask you, the super conscious. We have the conscious mind, can only handle 40 bits of information at a time. We have the subconscious that takes in millions, if not tens of millions. When you say super conscious, what are you referring to?
What I am referring to is, it's that place that all of our minds are connected. It's that place where ideas, it's like infinite intelligence, God, whatever you want to call it. And so that's what I call it. Because like you said, everything in this entire universe was once a thought in someone's mind.
Yep.
But where did that thought come from?
Exactly.
Like that thought wasn't born inside of your mind.
Right.
You know, and if no one else like told you this thought, you know, like if it wasn't something that you just, you know, saw an ad for or saw on TV or somebody told you, then you come up with an idea. It
Yeah.
just comes to you. It's like,
Exactly.
where did that come from? That is, to me, that comes from infinite intelligence. That
Yes.
comes from the superconscious.
Here's what I was meditating about last night. I know I'm not my physical body. My physical body is made up 50 to 100 trillion cells. They're always dying and being duplicated. So I know that's not me. That I can clearly. Thoughts, I don't know where the hell my thoughts come from. Okay, some of them are crazier than hell. Some of them are good. But they're not in the gray matter of my brain. They're coming. I think they're coming from the etheric body. You know, we're 99.999% space if you really analyze atoms and quantum physics, right? So I think there's a light body that protects us. So for me, for example, I take full responsibility for the mercury poisoning because I allowed it into my space. Okay, somehow I wasn't conscious enough. I was operating from subconscious. So whether it was diet, lifestyle, thoughts, whatever. But by doing that, I'm not a victim, and therefore I have the power to fix it, which I'm doing right now. So, and if people, I think, because when I look at the world today, especially in America, the programming is to make everybody a victim, and when you're a victim, you've given your power away, and you can't manifest anything. You're just victim to whatever next comes down the road with no control. That to me is the scariest place to be. But I see the media programming, the government programming. What do you say about that?
I am 100%. I love everything that you're saying about that because I've always believed that. And you know, there was a moment, and it was actually during that seminar where I really learned the difference between having a victim mentality and having a responsible mentality. And you know, it was just a situation that I created where, you know, it just had a really bad birthday. My boyfriend, you know, didn't treat me right, blah, 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 you know, and I had this whole story
Story.
about that, right? But then what we had to do is we had to retell the story from what if you were responsible for this? And so
Right.
I turned that around. And I mean, in that moment, as I was actually retelling that story, I'm like, you know, there's some truth to this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, if I really go back and I re-examine and then you actually have to when you do take responsibility for everything that happens, you know, to you,
Right.
you have the power to
Yep.
change your life.
Yes.
You have no power to change your life if you think that everything is happening to you,
Yeah.
because you're just at the mercy of what's going on in the media, what's going on in the government, what's going on with your employer, what's going on with your relationship, what's going on in your health. You're just at the mercy
Right.
of all these things. And so you can live a life where you feel like everyone's against you, everything is working against you, or, you know, one day it's good, one day it's bad, but you have nothing to do with it. Or you can live as if you 100% have a say in the matter over what happens to you. And here's the thing. I mean, I do believe that there are situations. Okay. I mean, no one manifested bombs dropping on their heads.
Right.
No one manifested getting raped
Right.
or getting, you know, I mean, you know, we could say that maybe you came into this
Now we're yeah.
incarnation, you
Right.
incarnated and you chose this life. But even if you didn't believe in all that, and something bad did happen to you,
Yeah.
you know, so you can't change the past.
But
Okay.
you can
You know,
you can own your response to it though. You know, with some
exactly.
work, some therapy, some help from others, you can still own your response. You can go back to the scene of the crime and you can reimagine it, recreate it. I just had someone on the other day that was raped at 18 by 5 people. She went back as an adult, recreated the scene, and took all the emotional charge out of it, and she
Yeah.
healed by doing that. So we still have to take responsibility, if not for the event. You know, there's certain things that are beyond our control, but we need to take responsibility for our response and whether we get through it. Bless you.
Exactly. And that was the point, is like you know, most people are recreating their future over and over again based on their past, because they're living in the past. They're retelling the same story over and over again. And the more you keep telling that story, the more you're just, living in that old story. And so you absolutely have because that's what responsibility is. It's the ability to
Yep.
respond.
Yes.
And so when you choose, like, okay, I can respond differently to this situation. And it doesn't mean that, whatever happened to you, it doesn't make it right.
Right.
And that's, I think forgiveness really plays a role in that whole responsibility conversation.
Yes.
It's they call it the 3 R's. Resentment, resistance, revenge.
Yeah.
And when you live in these 3 R's, ultimately, that's you're just going to continue to hang on and cling to a reality you don't really want to be in anymore, but you feel helpless
Right.
to change it. And the only way to bust those 3 R's is responsibility.
Yeah.
And responsibility, requires you to be able to forgive.
Yeah.
And to forgive is really to live as before. And it's is to get to a place where ultimately everything has been restored to back to the way that it was before in you. It
Yes.
doesn't mean that the other person, whoever you're forgiving, or the event or whatever, doesn't make it right. It just gives you the sense that the space of peace and the space of empowerment. And so all of these I consider all these things like the quality, the responsibility, the integrity, the forgiveness. These are part of the 16 qualities. These are how you be, because it's really, you're manifesting not what you want, you're manifesting who you are.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because this is something that's really awakening in me right now. I see all these systems of the world kind of falling apart, and things are going crazy and haywire, and it's really getting kind of insane, right? But I also see consciousness arising, and I see people waking up to, hey, it's not about chasing money or fame. It's about the evolution of my soul, of my consciousness, of my energy, of my essence, of my spirit, because that's really who we are. We're not our thoughts. We're not our body. And with this, we're in control of that, but we've gone to sleep, and therefore this runs the show, and we go get anxiety. We're on depressant meds and anxiety, or the body takes control, and we never get out of our bed, and we eat all day and watch Netflix. So we don't realize that the real us, is not the body or the mind. We're the ones that tell the body and the mind what to do, and that's where the power. So where I'm going with that is, what's been coming up for me a lot lately is my whole life, I've always searched for my purpose, what's going to fulfill me, what's going to feed my soul, right? And I'm on that path right now. And as the deeper I get into that and realize this is my sacred purpose. Carolyn Mace wrote a book a few years ago called Sacred Contracts, and we're here to fulfill that. And so now that I'm living from my soul and my heart, and it's wide open, and I feel like this is my I don't feel like this is my creation. I feel that it's being created through me, and I'm the conduit. And I feel that I've never been happier. And felt more blessed to finally be fulfilling that. And believe me, I took more left turns than most people in life, and I bumped the Rascal Flatts song. I bumped along the road a lot. But now that I'm on my purpose and my fulfillment, even with my health issues that I'm dealing with, I jump out of bed in the morning. I can barely fall asleep at night because I'm so excited that finally I feel that God is using me, or the creation is using me to manifest something beautiful here in the world. How do you feel about that?
Beautiful. Absolutely. I feel like what you're saying is also the true essence of manifestation.
Yeah.
And it's the true essence of law of attraction. I think, like you were talking about, you've got the electrical mindset, but you've also got the magnetic heart.
Right.
And I think through tapping into our true purpose, that's what's really manifesting. I think what happens is we get little glimpses if we listen to it's almost like a dangling carrot to kind of get us to go into this rabbit hole,
Yeah.
if you will, of searching for the truth about our nature and who we actually are and what our actual purpose is. And that's where we find peace and
Yes.
freedom, true freedom. And so ultimately, I 100% agree with you that, when you are aligned with your true desire, not the mental desire, not like the desires that everyone else says, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do that. When you're out there doing things that other people expect of you, you're not in alignment with your true desire.
Mhm.
So it's about following your heart,
Right.
following your passion. And the more you really trust that, and you trust your feelings, you trust your intuition, you trust the internal guidance, which, like,
Yeah.
we're talking about here is through the heart. Then ultimately, you're setting yourself up for a much, much, freer life. And, just to speak to, I mean, all the, the nasty events that are taking
Mhm.
place in the world, I think that ultimately, if we go there and we look at that and we get too caught up in the drama of what's going on, then we can very easily lose sight of what our intention is. And as we step into our full power, and do what we are meant to do, I think through that process, we will help to spread the message to the right messengers
Yeah.
who can spread the message to the right people
Yes.
who will ultimately, help this world.
Yeah.
And, in an indirect way, by not paying
Yeah.
attention to all of that nonsense that's going on
Yeah.
out there,
Yeah.
but in an indirect way, we are actually helping to support to make the world a better place.
I totally agree. Because I got caught up in all that stuff. 1920, all that, the election and then the COVID and all that. And man, there's so much negative energy around that, right? And it created a lot of internal anger because I'm all about justice, and there's so much injustice in the world. That's why I have the nonprofit foundation I have. That's why I'm building this healing retreat, because there's injustice to people that there shouldn't be. It's just not a fair system. So that bothers me. But what I realize now is that we need to raise consciousness. This is going to take care of itself, okay? This can't support itself. It's going to be probably destroyed, and a lot of people are going to get hurt, but that's just part of life. If you and I walk through the forest today, half the forest is dead and half is alive. And if we do it 100 years from now, the other half is alive and the other half is dead. Because everything's a big pattern, right? So this is unfair and unjust, but it's happening. But what can we do? We can raise consciousness, and we can usher heaven back onto earth. So there's going to be a divide. Whatever happens over here is going to happen, but we can create beauty and love and service to one another over here. But I think that is the key. We have to have an open heart. We have to, you said early, be responsible. We need to be united, and we need to love and support and care about one another. We are a community. We are the community of humanity, and we're so divided. But this people over here that are raising consciousness, they are united. That's what we do. We give our retreat to free 24 people a year. They come here. We pay for them to fly here. They have a big need. They have a big reason to stay alive, and we try to teach them how to heal themselves so that they can stay alive and fulfill their purpose and their mission. And I think by just, there's 7 billion of us in the world today. If 3.5 billion of us will just lift someone up less fortunate, and that could be just a hug, that could just be walking them across the street, that could be playing checkers at the old person's home, it could be a lot of things. It could be financial, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Open the heart and start to give to one another, and watch your ability to manifest. Watch your ability to create what you truly desire. And then now it starts to flow towards you. I have a friend that's a bit greedy, right? And I had to say, I said, listen, dude, you don't have a lot of money because you're always chasing money. Chase love and service, and the money will become flooding in. At least that's my experience. How about you?
Yeah, I always felt that. I always felt like, if you chase money, you're just kind of chasing it away.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I I had every opportunity when I was a stockbroker to
Right.
go on to, create millions, but in doing it in a way that wasn't really serving at the highest level that I felt like I need to serve. And I just felt like I needed to do what I felt within my heart was my journey, regardless
Yeah.
of, what kind of financial rewards there would be. And I always just trusted that I would be taken care of, and I
Yeah.
have been. And I also just wanted to mention, that I mean, light is so
Mm.
much more powerful than darkness. And so as we raise our consciousness, we're raising our light, we're raising our love. Love is so much more powerful than hate.
Yes.
It really is. And, so, I mean, love is what ultimately makes the
Yeah.
world go round,
Exactly. The Beatles had it right. But but
and,
what you're
it just
talking
takes
about,
one.
what you're talking about though, the end result is we raise our vibrational frequency. And everything
Yeah.
in the universe is vibrating at its own unique frequency. But when I'm vibrating at this high frequency, guess what I attract? Other people vibrating in a high frequency. Listen, I'm really good at vibrating a low frequency and attracting that stuff too. But that doesn't serve my heart and soul. That serves my carnal desires. And I think it's time for us to put those things away and go for this higher vibrational frequency. And those are the people that are going to usher heaven back on the earth by raising their vibrational frequency.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that.
So I'm curious, you talk a lot about liberty on your website. And what do you mean by that?
I feel like liberty is just the ability to, it's freedom, essentially. It's being able to do what you want, when you want, how you want, with who you want, and not being subject to, someone else, someone else's, idea of what you're meant to do.
Yeah.
To me, it's living, it's whole, it's being whole and complete.
Yeah, absolutely. I look at it this way, we're born into the family system, a medical system, a religious system, an educational system, a financial system, a government system. And what do we want at our core? We want freedom. That's that. And so there's a disconnect right away. The soul's saying, wait, dude, what are all these systems? And so, we have to reconcile that and realize who we really are, that we're our own sovereign creation and I believe there's a part of the creator within us as well. And that gives us the ability for those of us that can learn this lesson, how to really create and manifest what we truly desire. Let me ask you
Yeah.
this. So you have 500 hypnosis audios. You have a beautiful website. You have great products. It's very, very inexpensive and well priced, and we'll talk about that at the very end here. But I'm curious, you go in and you make these hypnosis audios. What kind of music, or is there music or frequency? What are you looking for there? And what are you trying to do? Get to pierce the conscious mind into the subconscious and reprogram everything? Tell me about your audios.
So first of all, I'm on the road to 1,000 now.
Wow.
Yeah, because so I've had this app HypnoCloud for a number of years, and that sort of has evolved into this new app that we're just about to launch, called Believe.
Mm.
And it's literally in the final weeks of launching. I'm so excited to say, and I wanted to challenge myself because it's been 500 for many years,
Yeah.
but I've actually been kind of doing a lot of recording behind the scenes for a while, and just haven't been able to get it into the old app.
Yep.
So it's all going to be there in the new app, and it's heading quickly toward 1,000 right now.
Wow.
But the whole goal, essentially is, to help people to believe in
Yeah.
themselves.
Perfect.
And that's why I decided to, name the app appropriately Believe, because that to me is the single biggest problem with anything, when it comes to being able to even do something as, to me, as simple as losing weight. For many people, obviously, it's not that simple.
Right.
It's simple for me, and I say that, because I've figured out how to use my mind
Right. Right.
To be disciplined enough and motivated enough and have the energy and to have the be able to tap into making good decisions and have the discipline and all of that. Because trust me, I come from a family of obesity. I'm the only person in my family who's not obese. And all that to say, any of these areas of your life, whether it's manifesting love, money, health, fame, peace, forgiveness, all of that, it really does come down to getting the subconscious mind on board.
Yeah.
So all of the sessions are really designed, to drop you into your subconscious mind.
Do you
And
use music as well? Sound frequencies?
I do have like pretty background
Okay.
music.
Okay.
It's just relaxing
Okay.
background music. There isn't anything real special
Okay.
as far as like beats and things like that going on. I will probably have eventually like a line of programs that are very specifically enhanced
Yeah.
with the beats and the iso. Well, there's all these other
So
technologies
if
out
I'm
there. I haven't
listening
quite.
to the one I want to lose weight, I'm listening to that one.
Hmm.
I'm going to hear music, soft, relaxing music. I'm
Yeah.
going to hear your soothing voice. So I'm
Yeah.
going to hear your soothing voice helping me drop into the subconscious or into theta, and then it's just a affirmations, or is it a guided meditation, or how exactly would it work?
I do all sorts of techniques, anywhere from just direct suggestion, telling them, you will now eat fruits and
Mm,
vegetables, or you will now, that's an
got it.
example of a direct suggestion. Or sometimes it'll tell a story where, imagine yourself now in your future, and so I'll do some future pacing and have them visualize their ideal body. Or sometimes I'll even ask them, to go into their mind and just get answers from their own subconscious. What would be the right way for you to, what's right for you? And
Yeah.
so there's every single session is kind of unique
Yeah.
in that, I'll approach it like, well, what does this session really need to make the most change? And I just kind of sometimes it's just like I just sit at the keyboard and I just write, and I just allow the words to kind of come through me,
Yeah.
almost like I'm channeling like the right words to
Right.
say there. So it's not just one thing each time. Most of the time, it's kind of come down to where I include a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
where I include some visualization, I include some affirmations, I include some post hypnotic suggestions, some direct suggestions, and then waking. And that, happens anywhere between like 20 minutes to 30 minutes.
Okay, you guys, I can tell you from personal experience, reprogramming the subconscious mind is everything. It was programmed without you even know it from birth to age 7 or 8. Whatever you saw, felt, heard from your parents, the media, your friends, your teachers, that is deep within this programming. Some of it may serve you. Odds are most of it doesn't. So when we can get in there and unravel that, we can create miracles in our life. So if someone wants to work with you and learn how to do this, where do they find you and how do they go about working with you?
So they can go to my website, victoriamgallagher.com, and essentially all the links are there from, getting to my, my main website of where I sell the hypnosis programs, my app, my books, my courses.
Mhm.
It all kind of comes together right there at that site. From there, they can sign up for my free self hypnosis video training course. I also have a new Manifest Abundance 5-day challenge that I'm launching right now. It's the Believe to Succeed 5-day Manifest Abundance challenge, and I'm going to be adding that to my website here pretty soon too. And then,
Yeah.
of course, the Believe app will be coming out soon, and so lots of new things coming out. I'm a content creator. I love creating helpful content to help people to break free.
Well, I want to thank, I want to say, great to see you again. I want to thank
Thank
you very much for taking your time today. You have a beautiful spirit. You have a beautiful brightness, and you're a beautiful woman. So it's been
Oh.
enjoyable to sit here and talk to you and look at you and enjoy this special moment. So thank you very much.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And, you ask amazing questions. It's been a wonderful conversation. I really feel like, we're sort of kindred spirits
Yep,
here,
yep.
it's just kind of sharing information with each other. And I mean, we're very much on the same line of
Yep.
thinking. And so definitely I applaud you for all the wonderful work that
Thank you.
you are also doing. So thank you so much. It's
Thank
been
you.
an honor and privilege.
Thank you, Victoria. Okay, guys, I'll be right back after this short break.
Discover a new you at Mountains of Hope, the ultimate wellness retreat. Detox your body with doctor-approved juice fasting and IV nutrition, using fresh fruits and veggies from Colombia's rich soil. You will be tested throughout the process according to your and your body's needs for a personalized experience. Relax your mind with yoga, meditation, while learning to heal yourself by following a 9-week doctor-supervised protocol. Heal your soul with emotional support from our caring staff who will follow up with you for a year after your retreat. Mountains of Hope, where transformation lasts.
Imagine if you could tune into the frequency of creation, the vibration that connects you to the source of all abundance. That's what the Creation Frequency course and book will show you how to do. You will learn from Mike Murphy, who used this technique to go from a miserable and hopeless situation to a successful and happy one. You will also benefit from a 7-week program, a private community, and new tools. The Creation Frequency is not just a course or a book, it's a way of life. Join now and see for yourself.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's always fun for me to have someone on the show that teaches the law of attraction, And when she was talking, she mentioned that the secret, which really blew up the law of attraction, I don't know if it was good or bad, but blew it up, came out in 2006. I realized that I learned this process in 1982. And I started teaching my employees in my car dealerships probably as early as 1990, maybe 87, 88. So it was fascinating for me to remember that. So I want to talk about manifesting and becoming a creator, because right now I'm in the middle of creating the biggest project ever in my life. It's not going to make me the most money because I'm not chasing money. It's not going to make me famous because I don't want to be famous. It is feeding my soul. It is fulfilling my heart. And my wish for each and every one of you is you'd find a project like this. I'm 66 years old. I mean, I've made as many left turns than any of you. I've bumped against the wall so many times that my head hurts. But I kept getting up and going forward, kept getting up and going forward. I had a lot of childhood programming that I had to undo. It was a big onion with a lot of layers. But anyways, to be now living my life on purpose and fulfillment just is really indescribable. So I wish that for you. What am I creating? It's called Mountains of Hope Transformational Healing Retreat Center in Medellin, Colombia. The question, who am I doing it for? I'm doing it for people that want more energy in their life, that become sluggish and maybe even depressed or full of anxiety. People that have become obese because, let's face it, the food isn't what it used to be. And there's a lot of traps of what you can think is healthy and it's really not. There's a lot of people with type 2 diabetes, which appears to me be pretty easy to cure with an environmental change, a lifestyle change. There's people like my wife, and when she was 29, diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. If I'd known what I know now, and she'd come to a place like Mountains of Hope, I believe she'd still be alive today. And I did a lot of things wrong. We made a lot of wrong decisions. I believe at the end it all worked out. I think she's in a much better place. I'm in a much better place. But we went through a lot of hell, if you will, to get to these places. I'm still in body. She's out of body. So she probably has a better advantage of me right now. But why am I doing this? My friends say, Mike, why are you doing this? Why aren't you out playing golf with us? Why aren't you doing this? Well, after my wife Margot passed in June of 2011, Just a few weeks after that, a friend called me up and said, Mike, my sister-in-law, Amanda, is moving from Montana to the San Francisco Bay Area. She has stage 4 breast cancer. She's also 38 years old. She has 3 children, and she feels she can get better treatment. Will you take Amanda to Margot's last oncologist? I said, of course I will. So I took her there, and he met her, and he said, okay, I want you guys to go do these tests. I had nothing really going on, so I went with her. And what I noticed was that she was treated much differently than we were. Even though they were both minorities, Margot had a husband, we had resources, I was always with her, and we had more money, frankly. And I noticed with Amanda, who didn't have the greatest insurance, didn't have extra resources, that they and didn't have a husband there to fight for. I was just the observer. Either talked down to her or over her head, and it just didn't feel right, but I didn't say anything. So then I went back to our oncologist, and he said, Amanda, the best protocol to extend your life are these 3 chemotherapies simultaneously. Unfortunately, your insurance will only pay for one. That's all I can give you. And I was flabbergasted. I just was blown away. I didn't realize that injustice existed in the world. Silly me. I said, here's my credit card. You give her whatever you want. That was the seed that later became the Love for Margot Foundation. For 4 years, I gave financial grants to women below the poverty line while they battled cancer. Here was my hope, my dream, okay? They don't have, because after Amanda, I met another woman, 33-year-old named Renee. And her request was, because she was alone in San Francisco, breast cancer spread to the brain. Mike, will you make sure I don't die alone in a hospital by myself? I ended up paying for round-the-clock care for her for weeks. We thought she only had a few days left, and then she wouldn't die. And so we spent a lot of money, so I learned a lot of lessons there. But both of these women touched my heart, so I created this foundation called the Love for Margot Foundation. And for 4 years, we would give financial grants, $5,000 to each woman, $1,000 a month over 5 months, with the intention being that they've lost their job because they can't work because now they're sick. They have no money, no resources. So we will help them get through treatment. They will get better and go back to work. The truth is, out of 150 to 200 women, I don't know how many exactly, it only worked that way about 10% of the time. The majority of them got sicker and sicker and died. And I realized that I was just throwing money away. Not a lot of people were donating to a cause like that. So a lot of the burden and onus was falling on me. So I said, okay, plan B. I started buying water purifiers, juicing machines, vegetables, and said, okay, I'm going to teach you guys how to strengthen your immune system. And by this time, I'd expanded from Oakland, California. I was also doing it in Palm Springs, California. So Oakland was mostly African-American women. The valley, Coachella Valley, was most illegal Mexican women. What I saw will forever scarred me, changed me, and motivated me to do what I'm doing here in Colombia. The injustice that these women face, the courage that they have, the gratefulness that they have, the love that they had, but no, very, very little support. And that was what was heartbreaking. And the treatment didn't work. Frankly, it just didn't treat. You do your own research. I'm not knocking doctors. I'm not knocking medicine. I'm just telling you my personal experience. You can prove me wrong if you want, but I'm telling you what I saw. And I met with them every month to give them the check. That was part of the drill. I wanted to know them. I wanted to love them. I wanted to pour my heart and soul into them. I wanted to try to help them. So that's why we did it. And that's why I'm doing this. So that's why we're building this place. We do one retreat a year where women like that or veterans that came back from Iraq and Afghanistan with PTSD, if we think we can help them, we will fly them here at our expense. We will give them the entire 2 weeks for free. So what is the 2 weeks? First week is a physical detox. It's a solid food vacation. We grow 50 vegetables on our property. We have 20 acres located 7,000 feet in the Andes Mountains, 15-minute drive from the Medellin airport. The soil has never even been grown on. It's so rich, so many minerals, so much power. We are light bodies. We are electric bodies. We need to eat live food. We're literally going to pull it out of the ground, and we're going to make you a juice for that first week, and that's going to be your diet. And we're going to give you a 9-week detox protocol. You'll bring a couple weeks with you. When you get home, you'll do the rest. It's called Quicksilver Scientific. Google it. It's very, very profound. Then we have coffee enemas or kalimas. We have infrared saunas to detox the body. It's all medically supervised. So we have doctors here in Colombia. The first day you meet with a doctor, a chiropractor, a nutritionist, psychologist, and a dentist, and we're going to examine the whole body. We're not going to treat you, but we want to know everything that's going on so we can assist you with a detox individually for you. And if you get hungry, we're not going to make you starve. It's not a prison. We're going to cook you something to eat or make you something to eat. The second week, we get into a raw food diet for those that can handle it. Not everybody can. It's your retreat. It's a place for you to come to learn how to heal, because everything you need is already within you. The greatest pharmacy in the world is right here, and we're going to teach you how to access it and make beautiful chemicals, and instead of feeling bad most of the time, you're going to feel amazing and great. The other reason we do the solid food vacation is that 50% of your energy goes to digest food. So when you're not eating, your body's going to have 50% more energy go through and find the bacteria, find the parasites, find the virus, find the heavy metals, and flush them out of your body. So it's really a physical detox the entire 2 weeks. Then second week, we get into consciousness. We get into neuro-linguistic programming, how to change these neural pathways, eliminate bad habits, replace them with good habits. We get in here and we clean up any emotional wounds. They say that almost every illness starts with an emotional wound. Every illness starts with inflammation in the body. So that's why we're detoxing the body. We're rewiring the mind, or showing you how to do it. It's all up to you. We're going to teach you how to do these things so you can heal yourself, become the best version of yourself, and become super strong, super healthy for whatever's coming down the pike nowadays. And more importantly, you're going to have such a spiritual awakening. You're going to move into this beautiful heart and start living from here. And there you can use this mind, which is a supercomputer. But when we live here, it's kind of an insane asylum. So we're going to teach you how to do this. We have many exercises to do this. It's going to be a lot of hard work. I'm not lying to you. It's hard work. But we also have a lot of fun. We have a yoga studio, so we have yoga a couple times a day, or we have bouncing on a trampoline, rebounding. We'll do breath work. We have cold water plunges. We have ice baths. We have an infinity edge swimming pool. We have 2 pickleball courts. We have a TrackMan golf. We have a putting green. We have a sand trap. So we're going to work you really hard for about 5 hours a day. And about 7 hours a day, we're going to have a lot of fun and a lot of play. You're going to get 2 massages every week. You're going to get 2 IVs and ozone therapy every week. You're going to get 2 coffee kalimas every week to help detox the body. You're going to get a ton of education. You're going to get some very, very special meditation. And here's the most beautiful part. Go to mountainsofhope.com. Look how beautiful this place is. I've been all over the world. I've never felt such energy, such healing energy, such powerful energy as I've felt here. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been, but you can literally feel it. We have a 12th century labyrinth that you can walk and meditate. We have walking meditations. We created a path around the entire 20 acres. It takes like 25 minutes to walk it. We call it the Camino de Miguel. At the very bottom of our property, we have a lake with a gazebo on it where we can have classes, or we can sit, or we can just hang out. We're going to create such a tight-knit community, and our staff is trained to pour their love and all their energy into you so that you can learn how to heal yourself and become the best version of yourself, knock back any illnesses that may be knocking at your door, but most importantly, increase your energy 4-fold, 5-fold, 10-fold. You're going to have the greatest experience of your life. All right, that's enough for me for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you liked it, share it. I hope you check out Mountains of Hope. That's what I'm manifesting and creating right now. I've never been so happy, so fulfilled, and feel that. And by the way, I don't feel I'm the one creating it. I feel it's being created through me from a higher power, from an energy, and I'm just a conduit. But I invite you to check it out, and I hope to see you there soon. Until next time, go out there, live your life with passion, and create the life of your dreams.
Thank you for listening to The Power of Your Voice with Mike Murphy. This podcast is brought to you by Mike Murphy Unfiltered, The Creation Frequency, Mountains of Hope, and the Love from Margot Foundation. These sponsors are dedicated to helping you unleash your full potential and live a life of joy and abundance. If you enjoyed this episode, please visit our website at mikemurphyunfiltered.com and subscribe to our podcast.